Today I wanted to open one of my Jumpstart um, packs. On the back it says mix and match for maximum mayhem. So it has a little insert that kind of tells you a little bit about this bundle. And it comes with 4 different um, booster packs. These actually are 20 card packs instead of the normal 15 card packs. Actually, once you open up the packs, they have a little plastic seal around them, like some of the pre-constructed decks do. So the first one has this almost token looking thing that tells you, I guess, what the theme of this particular pack's supposed to be. So it says Legion, and then in the bottom corner it has a white symbol for the white mana. So the first card we have is Elena, Selfless champion. It's a 3/3 human knight for 4 and 2 planes. When Elena, Selfless champion, enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token for each non-token creature you control. Sacrifice Elena. Creatures you control with power less than Lena's power gain indestructible until end of turn. So that's kind of cool. Depending on how many creatures you have, you might get a handful of 1/1 tokens. So where it's 4 and 2 planes, by the time you get this out, let's say you have 3 to 5 creatures, this hits the battlefield, it's 1 token for each non-token creature you have on the battlefield, so you get 3 to 5 creatures. That's, pretty nifty for the mana cost. So the next one is Mentor of the Meek. It's a 2/2 for 2 in the plains. It's a human soldier. Whenever another creature with power 2 or less enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. If you do, draw a card. So, if you're playing something and this guy's on the battlefield, if you have an extra mana to spend, you get another draw that turn. And I feel like that's normally a blue thing, but I guess each color occasionally will have, that offshoot of something that's normally a different color. Next we have Sleep Strike. It's a 1/1 human soldier for 2 in the plains. It has double strike, and when Siege Striker attacks, you may tap any number of untapped creatures you control. Sage Striker gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature tapped this way. So, let's say you have a handful of tokens from your Elena Selfless champion. They're only 1/1s without anything. You tap them, to give this guy a few 1/1s. All of a sudden, he goes from, a 1/1 with double strike to maybe, a 5/5 with double strike, and instead of hitting for 2, he's hitting for 10. And, where the 1/1 tokens don't have double strike, you're really doubling on the amount of potential damage you could be doing. Next we have Faith Feathers. It's a enchantment aura for 3 in the plains. Enchant permanent. When Faith Feathers enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life. Enchanted permanent can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated unless they're mana abilities. I think it's pacifism that prevents creatures from attacking or blocking. So if it is, this is basically pacifism with you yourself gaining 4 life from playing it. Selfless Savior. It's a 1/1 dog for the plane. Sacrifice Selfless Savior. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Basically you're just, cheapo creature that you're putting on the battlefield to block or do something. If you have something bigger that you want to attack or block with, you can sacrifice them to give them indestructible depending on your opponent's creatures. Or if they have burn spells, preventing one of your creatures from getting killed. Next we have Basri's Solidarity. It's a sorcery. Put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. So that's a pretty good sorcery for 1 in a plains. If you end up having a dozen creatures, well, all dozen of those creatures get a 1/1 counter for 2 mana, 1 in the plains. That would go good in the Proliferate deck. Valorous Steed. It's a 3/3 unicorn for 4 and plains. Has vigilance. When Valorous Steed enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 night creature token with vigilance. Basically you're getting 2 creatures for a total of 5 attack and defense. Each creature has vigilance for a total of 4 in plains. So, right around what I would expect for mana cost and what it does. Daybreak Charger. It's a 3/1 unicorn for 1 in the plains. When Daybreak Charger enters the battlefield, target creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Next we have Makeshift Battalion. It's a 3/2 human soldier for 2 in the plains. Whenever Makeshift Battalion and at least 2 other creatures attack, put a 1/1 counter on Makeshift Battalion. So another card with the 1/1 counters. That one particular creature, it's only going on that creature as opposed to all your creatures. Fortify, it's an instant that costs 2 in the planes. You can choose one. Creatures you control get +2/+0 until end of turn, or creatures you control get +0/+2 until end of turn. So basically, you're choosing whether you want all your creatures to have a little bit higher attack, or if you want them to have a little bit higher defense. But, that's only until end of turn, as opposed to the sorcery, which was, their counters that go and stay on. Legion's Judgment. It's a sorcery for 2 in the planes. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater. So it's helpful if if your opponent has a creature with higher toughness than any of your creatures have for attack. Let's say you have a bunch of 2/2s and yet your opponent has a 3/5. Well, obviously their 3/5 would kill your 2/2 and survive getting hit for 2 damage. But where this destroys a creature power 4 or greater, so I guess it would have to be a 4/5 for this example. Their creature has 4 power. You destroy that, and then you attack with your 2/2s. We have Thriving Heath, which is a land. Thriving Heath enters the battlefield tapped, which is about on par for a lot of the non-basic lands. As Thriving Heath enters the battlefield, choose a color other than white. Tap, and you can add a plains or 1 mana of the chosen color. So where you're choosing a color, and this can tap either for a plains or the chosen color. I'm guessing each particular color has one of these. We'll see if I have another one in one of the other 3 packs. We have Raise the Alarm. It's instant for 1 in the plains. Create 2 1/1 soldier tokens. So you're getting 2 creatures for 2 mana. It's kind of helpful if your opponent has more creatures and they go to attack where it's an instant. You can be like, oh, okay, I'm gonna throw these 2 more creatures to have something to block with. And then it looks like we get to the basic lands, the plains. So that was the first of the 4 packets. So let's see what the second pack looks like. So again, something that not quite a token, but has that feel. Tree huggers, and it has the forest down below, so it's all gonna be green cards, I'm guessing. We have primordial sage. It's a 4 or 5 spirit that costs 4 and 2 forest. Whenever you cast a creature spell, you may draw a card. So it's helpful mid to late game if you need to draw some more cards, because 6 mana, 4 and 2 forest, that's a lot. It's not going to help you in the early game, but by the time you have 6 mana, you're potentially playing 1 to 3 cards depending on the mana cost of stuff in your hand. So if you're getting down to like 2 cards in your hand and you play this guy and you start playing some creatures, then you start drawing some more cards. Next we have brolloff oak. It's a 2/3 tree folk for 2 and 2 forest. Whenever you draw a card, Burl Fist Oak gets +2/+2 until end of turn. So basically, where this guy gets stronger when you draw cards, these two play off each other. You play a creature to draw a card. You draw a card to make this guy stronger until end of turn. So kind of like how some of these might pack cards together that make interesting little combos. Warden of the Woods. It's a 5/7 tree folk creature for 4 and 2 forest. It has vigilance. When Warden of the Woods becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, you may draw 2 cards. Next is Nature's Way. It's a sorcery for 1 in a forest. Target creatures you control gain vigilance and trample until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So, one of your creatures is getting vigilance and trample, which is nice, and it's basically the fight mechanic without your opponent's creature dealing damage to you. It's your creature is dealing damage without having damage received back. So you potentially kill one of your opponent's creatures. If it kills a creature where it has trample, the excess would go to that player's life total. Next we have Wall of Blossoms. It's a 0/4 plant wall. Obviously a wall because it has the name wall in the name of the card. Where it's a wall, it has defender. When Wall of Blossom enters the battlefield, draw a card. So kind of have that draw mechanic in a handful of these green cards, it looks like. Next is Llanowar Visionary. It's a 2/2 elf druid. When Llanowar Visionary enters the battlefield, draw a card, and you can tap it to add a forest. Snare Spinner. So it's obviously a spider. Probably can't tell too well with the camera, but it's on a web between some kind of buildings or something. It's a 1/3 spider for 1 in a forest. It has reach. Whenever Snare Spinner blocks a creature with flying, Snare Spinner gets +2/+0 until end of turn. So that's kind of interesting. It has reach, and if it blocks something with flying, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Kind of maybe gives some kind of equalizer against a bigger flyer, maybe. Next we have Ambassador Oak. It's a 3/3 tree folk warrior for 3 in the forest. When Ambassador Oak enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green elf warrior creature token. Crushing Canopy. It's a instant for 2 in the forest. You can choose 1. Destroy target creature with flying, or destroy target enchantment. Explore. It's a sorcery for 1 in the forest. You may play an additional land this turn, draw a card. I can't remember how early this card came out, but I feel like this is a reprint of something from a previous set. Okay, next we have Thriving Grove, which is a land, and this is basically the green version of what was in the other pack. Thriving Grove enters the battlefield tapped. As Thriving Grove enters the battlefield, choose a color other than green. Tap to add a forest or 1 mana of the chosen color. Wild Size. It's an instant for 2 in the forest. Target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. Draw a card. Gnarled Sage. It's a 4/4 tree folk druid for 3 and 2 forest. Has reach. As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, Gnarled Sage gets +0/+2 and has vigilance. And then looks like we're down to the basic lands, the forests for this pack. So we have 2 more packs from this particular package, so I will end this video here and do another video in the near future with the other 2. So keep checking back for some magic videos and occasionally some video game walkthroughs. So thanks for checking out my channel and have a good day.